Hello, I'd like to share with you my experience of building my own arm wrestling table and a copy of the Krasi's pulley system. Um, I'd like to share with you how I made it and what I would do differently if I was making it again, in hope of helping you to, if you want to save some money and make yourself a very necessary piece of equipment if you want to do any sort of arm wrestling training. Um, well, I hope this video is going to help you. So let's get to it. Alright, so the dimensions of the table are standardized and basically there's not much to talk about there. Um, what I'm going to say is, if you're making the bottom of the table, just ignore the card is here because I don't want it to ruin the floor, and this is just weights that I put on the table so it doesn't go all over the place. Ignore that. But what you should focus on here is I used flat bar to make this H section here. Uh, don't do that. The flat bar will wiggle all over the place and it's just not stiff enough. I made this with pretty much scrap metal. That's why it's like this. Of course, I wouldn't be doing it if I had proper tubing and materials to make this, but I advise you, however you're making your table, don't use flat bar at all for the bottom piece because it will wobble all the way around. That's why the solution was to use this square tubing. Just ignore this. This is my belt, which I will be using to make some more straps. It doesn't matter. I basically strengthened the construction with this square tubing, which makes it more rigid. It still wobbles around. It's solid, it's not gonna break, but it's not really good in that regard. I advise you, if you're making your own, you have to use square tubing for the bottom part of the construction, and if you can, for the top too. I mean the top part again with flat bar, but it's more rigid because again I added this cross piece, and there's four flat bar pieces here, and these two, they're sort of made, yeah, the weld is crap, I'll talk about that later. Made this way. The board, I don't know what it's called in America. It's called OSB board here, and it's held on by self-tapping screws. 4 times 4, that's 16 self-tapping screws on there. Next, this is how I made these handles. They are just welded on, and with these cutouts, they're actually completely fine. I actually like the thickness and just the way they are. They're completely fine. There's nothing I change about that. Basically, the construction is solid enough, but yeah, I wouldn't be having to make all this stupid cross section, this X piece and the middle piece. It's just unnecessary if you make the bottom with the right material. That's all there is about that. Also the pin pads, I use this because I train here. Sometimes I train side pressure from this angle. I just do it this way. We'll get to the pulley later, but that's why I don't have a pin pad here right now. You can get the positioning of the pin pads and everything else on the internet. I won't really talk about that much. There are numbers here. Number 1 is here, because I just drilled holes. I don't know how to say it in English, but I just drilled them just like that, and positioned my wood screws in this board. There's just a sponge with durable cloth or whatever on top, and it's held on in place. This is the right hand position, and move it to the side. This would be the left hand position. I don't think I can do it like this right now, but it does fit, trust me. Just put this here. There we go. I really like this. I don't use them because I mostly train on this alone. I don't have anyone, any training partners. It's not very popular where I am, so I just do it by myself. That's why it was necessary to make myself a pulley system. The pulley system I think came out pretty darn nice. Again, you can see the square tubing here. This is 4 centimeter square tubing. This is some, again, it was all scrap. You can see there's this piece here that I didn't even want to cut off. It's just not bothering me in any way. There are three positions for the pulley, but I only use the middle one. I haven't yet used the other two. I think it's not very necessary. It's a bit of a hassle changing the position of the pulley. That's why. Basically, um, it's held on by two bolts. They're different lengths because I lost the one that was the same length, but it doesn't really make any difference. What does make a difference and what is important, what I made a mistake with, of course, as you see these nuts here, I should have probably add another one to distance the cable from this pipe, because these cable stops, whatever, will during your use grab a little bit on this pipe. It's not a big problem, but I think that it should be remedied. It doesn't happen often enough so that I have to do it, but I would do this with a different design altogether. I would probably weld something on here and use a through bolt to make this swivel. If you can find a swiveling pulley, that would be great, because again, this is not big problem, but it is a little problem in that when you're training, and let's say you want to train, I don't know, you move to the corner of the pad, whatever, it doesn't matter. You are pulling this diagonally to the side, and it rubs, makes noise, it's more difficult to move, and basically not that great. If it was swiveling, it would be great. It would be pretty much perfect. It is held on by 4 bolts that go through the board and the flat bar underneath it. I advise you, if to make this, you need a welder, you need a how what it's called, a column drill or whatever, because it's pretty difficult to drill by hand through 4 centimeter pieces to be completely perpendicular through all those parts. So I think you need to have that. You can probably, if you make bigger holes, do it by hand, but it's, you understand. You need that, and you need of course an angle grinder or something to cut this tubing with, and that's about it. I can give you the dimensions if you want. I don't know if I can post them because this is very similar to what Krasi sells, and well, it does take some skill, and materials to make, but I don't think I can be sharing dimensions to something so similar to what he's selling for money and using to, feed himself, I guess. Yeah, if you want, I can give you the dimensions. Again, this is something I made. You can't find the dimensions. It's something I made literally from pictures, and yeah, it came up fine. I guess it's completely fine. That's about it for the pulley and the table itself. Again, I would use square tubing here if I had it. This is round and very thin. It was very difficult to weld the thicker pieces to it. The flat bar I pretty much ditch altogether from the bottom, and the top it's rigid by the it's made rigid by the board. If you use this is an 18 millimeter thick OSB board. Yeah, I think you can get away using flat bar on top, but not on bottom. Not at all. Just forget about it. You'll have to make this, and it's not gonna be, still not gonna be rigid enough. But oh well, it's my first time fabricating and making things like this anyway, so yeah. It's my little multi-spinner. You already know how to make this. It's very, very simple. The only thing I would suggest with making multi-spinners, which again I haven't really heard much from people who tell you how to make them, use thicker. This is very thin. This is less than 2 centimeters wide. This is less than, I don't know how much in inches, but it's very thin. It will dig into your wrist pretty bad. I have to wrap it twice, it still digs. I don't know how. It's just more comfortable to try and get a little bit of a wider one, just a little bit. My advice here. Also, this notch works extremely well for putting this there. Leaves it hanging. Just carabiners, the cable itself, little belt loop, this handle. I'll put the name of the channel of the Finnish guy who I saw this idea from, because his channel is great, and I sort of copied his idea, except that he put the board on the lower side, the outside of the L, and I put it on the inside. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but you can see exactly what it is. It's just held on by these two screws. I ground all that off so it doesn't stick into my hand. It's such a great fingertip handle. You use it like this. I can't pull it here because there's 21 kilo on the cable. You know, just forget about it. um, but yeah, that's just great handle. What else is there? What else is there? Yes, there are three positions. I'll use only the middle one. That's about it. I think, you know, you have to have, this is just, if you're interested about the table and this, you can stop the video now. That's about it. I'm going to talk a little bit now about how necessary this is if you want to work out for arm wrestling. You know, we're gonna say it's not necessary. You can use a belt, you can use whatever, you can, you know, grab a belt and just it's not the same. You know that mean it's not the same. It's not the same. You have to have something like this. You have to have a table, a pulley system, and oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, let's cover the loading pin too. Loading pin is just a piece of pipe. The top is made there's a little bolt going through. You just drill two holes, cut the slot in, take the sides out, hammer the bolt through, cut it off, weld it. I welded it, and put a little carabiner through it, and you can just slide weights on and off. The loading pin, there is an idea that I would like for you to know. I wish I knew it before I painted it. I would put near the top of the loading pin, I would put just drill a hole through the pipe, and to have a long bolt, or what it's called, whatever, a bolt or a threaded rod, it doesn't matter what, piece of metal, to go through, and for you to be able to put these little weights, the 1.25, 2.5 kilo little weights on here without having to disconnect the cable, which can be a little bit of a hassle. I have to pull it down a lot, and you know, that would be great to have for, you know, adding little weights, like you have 20 kilos here, and you know, the variation of your strength between exercises you do is, you know, like 5 kilo or 10 kilo, whatever. You can add that and remove that without removing the disconnecting the cable. It's just a hassle, you know. You want to make your workout as as convenient as possible. In my opinion, it shouldn't be, you know, having to switch weights, it taking an entire minute of your rest, you know, in a kneeling or squatting position. Just forget about it. It's gonna make you hate your workout, and you're gonna work out less, and you're gonna. It's just gonna be a hassle. We're here to have fun. We're not here to, you know, have, you know, struggles with, you know, replacing, adding, or removing weight. At the loading pin again below, it's just flat bar. You know, it's really simple to make loading pins. So there you go. That's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. I hope this gave you some ideas of about how it can be made. The table and the pulley system, and this is what you really need if you want to be serious about arm wrestling, and basically arm wrestling is my favorite way of training wrist strength. You know, I like grip, but this is also very fun, and just, yeah, hope I helped you. Thanks for watching. See you again later. Goodbye.